Hi everyone, I hope you're well. Welcome back to another video. So I thought I'd just do a little talk through about how I budget, what's the system that I kind of use and that works for us, and a few budget tips. So I'm not going to go through the sort of standard, this is exactly what we pay for what, because there's loads of videos out there that do that and they are fantastic, but obviously this is a shared income house, and some of that stuff is my husband's money, and I don't want, to put his stuff out on the internet, so that's not my decision to make. So I just thought I'd explain about my end of the scenario. So I've got a current account which my wages go into and earnings and things like that, and out of that comes my proportion of the bills, stuff like that. So it's like a current account. I also have a Hyperjar which I've got different pots in. Hyperjar was brilliant whenever we've been on holiday, and it's also what I put some of money from envelopes. So for example, our India trip, I took out the cash from there, and I put half of it on my Hyperjar pot and half of it on my husband, and then we could spend from there. So that's my Hyperjar. I've also got a shared pot with my husband on my Hyperjar card. That is for our maintenance. So we live in a flat and there are maintenance costs that go towards that. Anyone who lives in a flat will know that they are just spiraling out of control. The costs of maintenance, it's absolutely bonkers. So what we're doing now is just putting money away. They're payable every 6 months. So we're just putting money away now to kind of buffer that a bit, because yeah, I mean, it's mad. You get in that trap, don't you, that if you think you're going to live in a flat because it's more manageable, but the maintenance costs are really high. So that's my Hyperjar. I also have long-term savings and an emergency fund in premium bonds, and I sometimes get winnings out of that just I transfer into my current account and can use them for either putting in my binders, or if we've got a bill coming up, or keeping as a buffer. So that's sort of how I roll. I do have a credit card, but I don't use it. It's another form of an emergency, backup basically. I don't spend on credit cards. I've just managed to get myself out of the habit, and it doesn't even occur to me now to get it out of my purse. So that's all that stuff. I am still using cash in my wallet, so I give myself money for food, my son's judo, miscellaneous, and I've put one in here for my son's haircut, so that's building up. Top-up shops are getting about £15 a week now, because my son is huge and has grown about a foot since Christmas, so he's really getting starving straight after school. So sometimes if I need to buy him a big drink, or he loves milk, so any sort of milkshake or anything like that, it comes out of that money. But also top-ups for lunch boxes, so rolls, fresh bread, milk, that sort of thing. So that would be in my bag. This beautiful tin that my husband bought me at Christmas. So this is a vintage cash stuffing tin. Somebody had put dentals, phone, hours, electricity and extra on it. I've just put coin denominations on, and I'm using it to keep my coins in. What I was previously doing last year is just shoving all the coins into a pot and then tipping them out, and the money goes into my husband's account and he withdraws it. Whereas I'm actually going to start doing the challenge again, penny savings challenge. So this one was from Budget with Zoe. So I've counted it all up and I've started ticking this off again, because this is going to go towards some of my envelopes. So that's that. And of course the trusty binders. Now these haven't changed much actually in the last year or so. They seem to work really well for us. So yeah, they're pretty self-explanatory. Gifts, clothes, the dog, home, puja, my little envelope, the garden, camping because my parents have a caravan we sometimes go to, rainy day fund. So this is a £5 a week habit former, if you like, that I put £5 a week away religiously for retirement, and I'm not going to touch that money. So I've got 500 in the bank and then still building up in cash each week, because we're all going to be about 1,000 years old before we're allowed to retire. They keep upping it, don't they, the age. I'm 46 now. I'm very conscious that, you know, the pension is not going to cut it. I also have a private pension through work, but this is just, I see it as this is going to be my emergency fund when I'm retiring, or if I need a little top up each week, I can just take from this. Christmas, bills, car, health. Now this is a goal for this year. I want to try and get this up to about £300. I've written some bullet points actually about, I've been really mulling it over. What do I think about budgeting and what do I think is important? And I think you know, we have to be prepared. So bad health is inevitable, either for myself or my husband. It's going to happen. Even yesterday, the boy got concussion and we were in A&E all day. With any hospital trip, there's parking costs, snack costs, you know, anything can go with that. And I want to be able to have a decent amount of money in here, that if the worst comes to the worst and there's a sudden hospital admission, we have got enough money. And also if my husband's parents, who live a 2.5-hour drive away from us, if they suddenly went into hospital, we'd have petrol money to get to them. So, you know, that's my sort of grown-up envelope where you just have to prepare for it because it's coming. Another thing I was really thinking about actually that might be inevitable is I am very lucky. I am in a very loving relationship with my husband, but you should plan for being single at some point in your life. That might sound really sort of downhearted, but what I'm saying is you never know what's going to happen. But also I might become a widow one day, and so, you know, that might happen. So I need to make sure that I am really financially strong, so that I'm going to be able to deal with that. If I die first, you know, it would be nice if I was strong financially, that I'm not going to put any burden on him once I've put my clogs. So again, just be mindful of all these things coming, because, you know, sometimes we do have to have a bit of a reality check, and we can't just bumble from one day to the other, because stuff is going to happen. And if we can prepare for it, then game on. So that's that one. This is a new envelope for trips, and I want to save about £80 in here because we love a day out, and I want to try and factor one in this year. So what I might do is either use my penny saving challenge or some rollover money. We'll see. So that's in there. Ireland, again, I want to try and get this up to £100. I've got no plans with going at the moment, but again, for funerals or anything like that, obviously I have got a huge family out there, and I want to be able to book flights if I need to and not worry about it. And it's handy if I don't have to dip into the emergency fund and that I've already got the money there. So that's that one. This is the boys binder, easy peasy. So school holidays, it's just got the dividers in for half term, Christmas, Easter holiday and summer holiday. So I build those up as and when we need. School, again, I want to try and build that up a bit because there's going to be trips and things next year. Any uniform, anything like that can come out of there. And birthday boy is actually almost fully stuffed because of my tin of joy last year, which I will get to. Let me just look at my notes. So yeah, we've got an emergency fund. The goal is always to stay debt free. Once you become debt free, you realize the weight that is off your shoulders, and it really makes you not want to get into debt anymore as long as you break those habits. So we haven't had debt for years now, and it's become just like brushing your teeth. In fact, I think I spoke to somebody on Instagram and she was starting the 52-week challenge, and I said, look, it's just like brushing your teeth. It's non-negotiable, it's good for you, so just be really matter-of-fact about it and it will become second nature. So that was really good. And it's important to find your people as well. If you are really struggling financially, the kind of urge is to go into yourself and sort of withdraw, but actually just reach out. We have got such a gorgeous corner of the internet where everybody is very supportive, and I am sure you could just send a DM to someone and say, I'm really struggling today, or I've got myself in a pickle but need somebody else to help me sort it out. And 9 times out of 10, I'm sure everyone will, you know, support each other. So, you know, really find your people. And also, if overspending is a sort of almost addiction, you know, we all know we get a dopamine fix from buying anything. If that really is an issue, you know, try and unpack all of that. But also, again, get a buddy, get accountable with somebody and get them to help you through it. A nice thing to do is to keep a list of your little treat things that you want throughout the year, so that if your husband says to you, or your son wants to get you a Mother's Day gift, or any little thing, you can just go to your list and say, oh yeah, I really wanted that actually. 9 times out of 10, you'll think, oh, I'm so glad I didn't buy that on a whim, because actually I don't want that now, I want something else. But mine is always a little trip to Marks and Spencer's food court. So I love beautiful olives, I love beautiful dips and cheeses and all of that stuff. That's always my number one go-to. So you know, if I do want to have a little treat of myself, then that's what I'll put into my budget and make sure I have that. So that's that. My absolute numero uno tip for anyone who is starting to budget is to get yourself a 52-week envelope system. So mine is so low budget, it is just cut up Christmas cards or birthday cards, 52 of them, and you just stick in whatever you can at the end of the week. So don't overstretch yourself and think, oh, I'm going to put £25 in a week, if that's really not within your budget. After you've done your sinking funds, after you've sorted out, you know, what your groceries are and all of that stuff, anything that's left, stick it in here and do not touch it until the following year, because you will already have a stash of money to bung in your binders, and it gives you a boost for the next year. So I find this is my present, this is my Christmas present to myself and to my family, that I'm always consistent with this. I've done it for about 4 years running, and I love it. And it doesn't have to cost you anything. I mean, you could put 52 envelopes in a sandwich bag. Do you know what I mean? I know we all love the you know, bougie stuff that you can get for cash budgeting, myself included. I've been watching a load of YouTube videos over the last sort of week, trying to get people's, you know, I just leave my phone running and it helps people get, you know, view time and all of that stuff. And, you know, oh, the nails, the cash thing, the beautiful envelopes. I am totally smitten and I love it. But I do have to sort of splash my face with cold water and think, actually, I've got to be a grown-up about this. If I had 40 quid in my wallet, would I spend it on cash stuffing stuff? I actually wouldn't. I've got other priorities that I need to sort out. So that's what I do. And that's why it's a bit of a bits and bobs setup, but it works for me. I'm not in debt. You know, also, you know, it just because you've got all the glitz and the glamorous stuff, it's not going to do your budget for you unless you get these habits really in place. There is no point in having a hustle mentality and getting loads of different income streams if you've got a leaky budget. You must sit down with your bank account statement. You need to see where your money is going and face up to it and just give it all a job. We keep a buffer because I know that I'm not going to dip into it unnecessarily. And so I can kind of trust myself with a bit of a buffer. If you can't, you know, do the zero budget thingy bobby, where you literally give every penny in your account a job. I like to have a little bit of a buffer just in case. So it's sort of belts and braces. We've got our emergency fund. I've got some long-term savings in my premium bonds. And I've got my buffer, and I'm happy with that. We are a low income household. We don't stuff a lot each week. It's normally between 100 and 150, depending on what's going on. For my son, my husband puts a certain amount each week into each month, I beg your pardon, into a high interest account for him. He's also got some premium bonds, and what we've taught him to do is he only gets half of that and the other half gets invested back into premium bonds. And that works really well for him because he gets the excitement of, you know, he might get £50 one month. But he knows that 25 is for now, 25 is to much later on. So that seems to work for us. I think that's about it. It's just a quickie, just an overview of our system. Just, you know, have a bit of a reality check. If you've a bit out of control, just put the brakes on, take a breather. There's no judgment. Just take a breather and think, okay, I need to turn this around a bit. And especially as women, it's only recently, historically, that we have been able to have any sort of financial reins at all and any savings. And so I try and really remember that, you know, women only recently were able to get credit cards, they couldn't own property on their own, all of these things. So it's so reassuring when you've got your finances kind of settled. That's the main thing. This isn't me trying to say it's easy, because I know it's not, and situations change and go up and down and are erratic, and I got to a point where I was thinking, well, if I'm erratic too, that's going to be even more of a mess. So if I'm kind of steady and just plod along, whatever comes, I can try and deal with it with my feet on the ground. So yeah, that's the main thing. So yeah, that's it. I'm sorry it wasn't super detailed about what all our outgoings are, but basically once the wages come in and all the bills are accounted for, the sort of extra is what I withdraw and I cash stuff, and that's it. You know, we try and consume really responsibly. We're very lucky, we don't drink, we're vegetarian, so there's not a huge sort of meat bill every week, and we've got lots of lovely friends and family that we see a lot, but who are of a similar mindset. In fact, my dad this morning, he rang me, he was so excited because his head torch after 12 years had broken and he got to buy a new one. So, you know, my parents have been excellent role models for me, and also it helps keep me in check, because I'd be so ashamed to say to them, oh, you know what, I've just sort of got myself in a mess just for, you know, out of being a bit of a baby. For me, I would be a bit embarrassed about that. I think my mum would hope that I'd try and be a bit smart about it. And believe me, in my 20s, I was a bit of a party girl, and I wasn't looking at my bank statements. And if I look back now and think, oh, if only I'd budgeted how I do it now, I would be quids in. But yeah, anyway, sorry this turned into a waffly thing. If you've been around for a while, you knew all this anyway. If you're new and you're just thinking, where do I start? Count your pennies and do a 52-week tin, and you're already going to be in a better position next year than you are today. So I hope that makes sense. And you know, I think the cash stuffing community are so brilliant, and everyone is so kind and supportive, and long may it continue, because, you know, I'm all about women being independent and really getting a grip on things, and I see so many incredible women in this space, and I think it's amazing. Okay, I will see you on the weekend for my normal cash stuffing. I haven't spent much out of here this week because we were in A&E all day yesterday. So yeah, like, he's not doing his judo this week because you know, he's got an egg on his head and stuff like that. So, and he doesn't need a haircut yet, so I'll slowly build that up. Yeah, anyway, waffle over. I hope it was helpful. I'll see you in a few days. Take care, everyone. Bye.